Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take another quick look here at Jasmi. This is going to be a pick me up video for somebody who feels like, it's long overdue that Jasmi is not pumping, and probably somebody is considering selling. I will not stop anybody who prefers that, but I've got my own opinions and they're very much positive, and I'm going to be sharing with you right now, as I always do. Yes, we are off of the Fed meeting. A lot of people had been anticipating that this is going to be the fuel that really pushes the market towards the upside immediately. I think one of the biggest concerns that we have right at this point is that people are just tired and the market is moving pretty much slower than a lot of people had anticipated. And yeah, the most impatient amongst us, really the ones with loud voices at this point. I mean, we can see it from the fear and greed index that we are right at neutral, slightly towards the negative side, like negative sentiment. But when you take a look at a lot of these, indicators, for example, the macro, taking a look at the market cap of altcoins, for example, you can see that we are hitting pretty much all-time highs. And in comparison to where we were in 2020, hitting the all-time highs of 2017, this was like a very euphoric moment and a lot of altcoins were excited. So I think we are just entering that period, but for one reason or the other, market participants just don't feel that. It's very, very interesting and very weird that we are literally knocking out all-time highs and people are pessimistic about crypto at this point. Yeah, I think market makers have done a great job in making everybody give up. But, we'll see what happens right there. I'm very much bullish on Jasmi as well. I would just go back and tie it to, what those other macro conditions are looking like. Even we can tie it as far as the stock market, and you will see what the data actually suggests there. Jasmi is also very much correlated with global financial markets, and so indirectly Jasmi should also just be fine. But when we take a look at the immediate short-term price section here, we're looking at the daily time frame. Of course, we have got major resistance by around 2 cents up to 2.2 cents here, and I'm anticipating the price will have to find its way back towards that resistance with this falling wedge, because as you can see with the previous ones that we have had, they have a tendency of breaking towards the upside, and I don't think this time is going to be any different. As we currently sit right now, I think it's very much obvious that Jasmi is sitting right on top of a support level. Should we break this support level? I think that means I'm going to be wrong. But for now, I think we are holding that support level, and that looks very good for me. Again, with a bullish falling wedge, they have got a chance like 66% to go ahead and reach the top of the wedge. In this situation, we're looking at 2.2 cents. It's like a 50% away from where we are at this point. But other than that, I think we're also seeing a very common phenomenon with Jasmi, which is usually the 50-daily moving average. We have talked about this at length and say that it determines whether Jasmi is in a bullish or in a bearish stance. At this point, we are slightly below that 50-daily moving average. But as you can see here, we have just been going up, down like that, pretty much going sideways. There is no clear direction. Just reminds me of what it was back here. As you can see that you get rejected, you break above it, you go down one more time, and you're doing all sorts of things right around that 50-daily moving average before you eventually have this, whole parabolic run towards the upside. So I think we're pretty much repeating the same thing there, and you can also see it right here. No clear direction, up, down, along that 50-daily moving average. Then eventually when you have a decisive breakout, then you saw Jasmi going almost vertical. I think we can go as far back as this time, back in 2023, and come up with almost the same conclusion right there. So there are moments when Jasmi goes sideways right around that 50-daily moving average with almost no clear direction. But I think a moment in which we're going to be seeing a breakout is fast approaching right there. I will also have to point out to the fact that the resistance that we have had here, yes, it has been rejecting the price. If we want to count, that's the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. And if we get back to it, that's going to be the fifth time, right? Usually in technical analysis, the more you hit on a support level or a resistance level, that's the more likely you're going to be breaking above it. So I anticipate that Jasmi eventually, when it revisits 2.2 cents, we're going to be breaking out and going higher, right? Let me just mention my price targets here. I'm just localizing this structure because it's also a common one, and making use of our Fibonacci retracement tools from the very top until the bottom here. Then we are looking at a full Fibonacci extension scale of right around 23 cents. Of course, it's crazy right now to be mentioning all those price targets which are that high when nobody is very much optimistic about Jasmi right now. But it is what it is, right? Think about it for a second. Do you really think that people wanted to buy Jasmi here? No, nobody wanted to do that, but it still went on to go ahead and register something like a 21x. Even where the price is today, as low as it may be, if you had been courageous to buy that low, you would still be 4x up as we speak today. So it's not really delusional to be optimistic when others are not optimistic. In fact, that's probably the most logical thing that you should do. You should be going against the market, which everybody right now is bearish for one reason or the other. But let me show you that I think that they're wrong. And this market is actually much more bullish than a lot of people are thinking about. Now, if you like what you have heard so far, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video by delicately tapping the like button. It will tell the YouTube algorithm that yes, this video is very much relevant. And of course, if you want to be seeing more of this Jasmy content, please subscribe, because I do TA on Jasmy and a number of other different altcoins on a regular basis. So let me continue here with the video. And I was saying that we are really at the verge of a huge breakout here, because the total market cap of crypto, excluding Bitcoin, has managed to revisit the highs of 2021. And usually with a structure like this one, at least what we have seen time and again, is that you tend to have a violent breakout here, which usually marks the peak of the cycle. I mean, for reference sake, I can go back and show you what it was back in 2020 when we managed to break the 2017 highs. And this is where you saw all the euphoria happening in the crypto market, right? This was really a huge moment. And yep, a lot of people got rich. I think this time around, you know, we're going to be seeing the same thing as well. Now, how does that actually affect Jasmy? Let me just quickly tie everything up nice and easy. And now we've got two charts on the screen. The one that you see in yellow and red is the total market cap of all crypto. Then down below, we have got the Jasmy price set in blue. And I think everybody who has got one eye or two can actually see that these things, they pretty much move in tandem, right? So 90% of the time we're moving together. And if we're saying that the total market cap of crypto, I mean of altcoins, we should be mentioning that, is bullish and looking for a breakout. Shouldn't we also be saying the exact same thing here for Jasmy, that Jasmy is also looking for a big breakout? Because if we look in history, and if history is going to be any indication of the future, this is exactly what has been driving the Jasmy price, that not even the project of Jasmy itself, but the market cap of crypto, right? So it is really just a matter of liquidity. Like, where is the money right now? The money is coming back to altcoins, and with that, we're going to be seeing the Jasmy price that being part of the beneficiaries right there. I mean, there are so many things that we can talk about. We can even refer to the stock market and see that also there is some kind of correlation that happens with there. Right now, what you're seeing in yellow is the S&P 500, and I mean, it's a little bit weird to understand that Jasmy, I mean, roughly moves, you know, almost in the same manner as the stock market does. So when the whole thing crashes, as in this instance here, you also see that Jasmy crashes, a recovery in here, we also see a recovery. Now, Jasmy has not gotten back to its previous high like the S&P 500 has done, but with other, you know, correlations, as you see here, they also don't happen, no, like instantaneously. There is some kind of a leg that happens by there. But I mean, we can also refer maybe to something like the Dow Jones Industrial Average or even the Russell 2000, and we can see that, I mean, pretty much we are doing the same thing right there. So global financial markets are looking bullish, and that should definitely also mean that Jasmy is also very much bullish. It really just doesn't feel like that for one reason or the other. I think that is what the market makers have decided to make it look like, that there is no hope, and then all of a sudden, boom, a lot of people are left behind right there. It really sounds delusional, I understand that, but yeah, as somebody who has been here in this market for a very long time, you know, things are not exciting until they're just exciting. It is a fact that in crypto, we tend to spend most of our time going down or sideways. I would say like 95% of the time is not exciting in this market, but like the 5% that we get those excitement, this is what, I mean, what crypto is all about, right? We really go parabolic in a very violent fashion, and it's quick. Nobody actually understands what has happened, right? One other thing that we have as a bullish indicator here is the Bitcoin dominance, and nobody needs to explain to anybody that this thing is falling very much heavily. Support levels start showing up, I think maybe minus 15% from where we are sitting at this point, and in that moment, it means that money is going to be opting to favor altcoins, including the Jasmy price set as well. So that's where the rest of the market is. We have got a very optimistic picture when we take a look at how the macro is looking and how we have tied it back to the Jasmy price set. But for one reason or the other, everybody is losing their ever-loving mind. And yeah, we'll see, obviously. I think it's not going to be very long. I know that I haven't been the best when it comes to predicting time, but again, I really don't make the rules, right? So I'm very much optimistic, and I thought I would give you a pick me up right here. You know, if you really think about it, we've been talking about the same thing over and over. And I feel like it's actually my responsibility or my job to keep everybody, intact, because you don't want to be that person who sells and 2 weeks later you see the price pumping 50%. It goes maybe like 70%. You don't believe that it goes 100%. Then you're like, you know what, maybe I should have, I shouldn't have sold my Jasmi. You try to buy back one more time, then you see a minus 50% crash, and just like that, you have messed your whole bull run. I think it's very much valuable to be holding in hard moments like these ones. This may not be financial advice, but this is exactly what I'm doing myself, and I stick to my guns. I'm still very much bullish despite all the criticism. But I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and I will see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves.